welcome to the first ever Green Seattle Partnership Instagram live video. I'm just figuring this out. I've never done one of these before, so thanks for joining. I'm so excited. I came out to the park this morning to see which plants were in bloom, and they're all in bloom. So there's some really great opportunities here for me to show you all sorts of plants. Hello everyone, thanks for joining. I'll wait a couple more minutes. Here, I'll give you the same view as me. So today I'm at Ravenna Park, which is my neighborhood park that I've been walking to as often as I can. People here generally do a good job of physical distancing, so it's a really great place to come. Okay, so I am going to get started talking about some of these wetland plants that we have out at the Ravenna and Cowan Park complex. So if you know me, you know I'm going to start with this plant right here. This is skunk cabbage, also known as swamp lantern to some people. I'm gonna try and say as many scientific names as I can, so you have to pardon my pronunciation. This is Lysichaton americanus. It's in the arum family, which tells you that it has the spathe and spadix here, which is what this flower is called. So there's a little snail in there eating some of the flower. So this part here is actually the flower, and we call that the spadix. And then this part that wraps around it here is the spathe. So that's the flower of this skunk cabbage, which is, as you'll see as we walk further into the park, there are a lot of these here in this wetland. And I've had a really great time watching them grow over this last month. They're the first plant typically to poke through at the end of the winter. So on the East Coast, the version of this plant has actual heat producing capabilities. Ours don't, but they still seem to kind of melt through those winter cold grounds and poke up and are the first ones to kind of poke up at the end of winter. So they're a nice sign of spring. So then in this little grove, kind of at the entrance to the park here, you can see where I am. I also found a really great plant. So this is fringe cup. Telema grandiflora is the scientific name for this plant. You can see it's just started to flower here with its little spike of flowers there. You can always tell they have really soft leaves. And yeah, so this is a nice little patch of fringe cup right here. It's kind of spread all the way over to this other wonderful flowering plant, the bleeding heart. This is an absolutely beautiful plant. It just bloomed. I did not see these blooms over the weekend, so these guys just popped out thanks to all the sun we're having. So you can tell bleeding heart by its leaves here. It looks pretty similar to a common invasive we have, which is called stinky bob or herb robert. There's a couple different names that it goes by. But you can definitely tell the difference if it's flowering. You can see these really distinct heart-shaped flowers, which is why this plant has its name, because it's heart-shaped. We always talk about it for Valentine's Day. But you can also tell because the leaves are a little bit larger and more spread apart than its invasive sibling. Well, they're not related, but it's look-alike, the bleeding heart, or the herb robert. I'm going to see if I can find some over here really quick. Nope. Okay. Some other time we'll have to point out the specific differences between those plants. You can always look at King County Noxious Weeds or the Green Seattle Partnership website. We have a lot of information on spotting the differences between invasive. I think actually now Friend or Foe is a blog post that will show you the exact differences between bleeding heart and herb robert. So then right over here, mixed in with a little bit of this bleeding heart still, you can see it's not flowering here, is wild ginger, which this is always an exciting plant to kind of find on a forest floor right around wet streams. You can see the stream is just starting right there. So we've got this wild ginger right here. I did not see any flowers coming up yet. Oh, there's one I spoke to early. So exciting. There's a wild, oh yeah, thanks Allie, that's a really good point. An easy way to tell the difference between Bleeding Heart and Stinky Bob is that Bleeding Heart does not have red leaves and Stinky Bob has very clearly red leaves. That's one really nice difference. But back over to the wild ginger here. Look at this wild ginger flower. So exciting. They have kind of crazy looking, oh, here's another one. I just didn't look hard enough earlier. And another one. There's a really nice shot. They kind of look like trillium flowers, if you know what trillium look like. That same kind of 3 petals, but these obviously look different. So there's really long petals. They're this dark purple, and that's because I'm pretty sure that flies are the pollinator of wild ginger. So when you have those kind of like dark red, blood colored, rotting corpse colored plants, those are going to be often pollinated by flies because they're attracted to that color. Sometimes really stinky plants are also pollinated by flies because they're attracted to those stinky smells and colors. So that's wild ginger. I am so excited that there's a bunch of flowers here. I'm definitely going to have to take some nice pictures of those later. So the last little ground cover here that I wanted to show you in this wonderful patch is oxalis, which you've probably seen it. It just makes these really beautiful, lush forest mats. You can see it's flowering here. It's got these white little flowers. And this little patch of oxalis doesn't really show this, but one that I'll show you later on. Oftentimes the bottom of the leaves of oxalis are kind of purpley pink. So they're also another kind of fun Valentine's Day. Oh yeah, maybe ants pollinate. That's a really good point. I should look up who exactly pollinates wild ginger, but yeah, it's probably not done by a bee or a butterfly, but I should definitely look that up. So we've got this oxalis here, which is not going to tell you that you can forage in a Seattle Park property because that is not allowed. But if you find this on your private property, it's really delicious to eat. It has kind of a fresh, minty taste. So we love oxalis. So now I'm going to walk down the path here a little bit after that first little bunch I found. I'll point out a couple more plants on the way, and then I'm going to stop at kind of a second point. They're fixing the bridge here, so there's some construction you'll have to endure with me. But like I said, Ravenna Park, good job at physical distancing, people. I'm proud of you. Okay, let's make sure I can. Tastes sour and good. Yes, it does. That's about oxalis. Okay, I'm coming through. Okay. So right over on the other side of this construction here, oh, you're growing some oxalis for food. I love it. It's delicious. It feels like a really nice kind of like thing to add on top of a salad and make it really fresh. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about is a big tree. It's our western red cedar. So this is a very common tree here that likes to live in wetlands. So it's distinct from our other big trees in this area because of its needles. So they have these kind of, they're completely flat, more splayed out, waxy kind of needles compared to the other like Doug fir or grand fir or spruce trees that have those smaller, more pointy needles. And then the other way that you can really tell, I'm going to get up closer to this large cedar over here, western red cedar, is by their bark. They have really shaggy bark. which is the easiest way to identify. Someone started making their own plant walk here and identified this as Western red cedar. I love it. So yeah, you can see they have like really shaggy vertical lines up the whole tree. There's our wonderful Western red cedar. There's another one and another one. They're all over the place here. And they're a really important tree for our region, both culturally and ecologically, if that's a word. I'm just gonna head up this little path here because earlier I found a fern that I was looking for. So I'm gonna start, there's lots of different ferns in this park. We have tons of sword ferns, which are kind of the quintessential fern of our area. There's a whole wall of them up here that I'll show you. But yes, I will definitely send you a shot of that handmade sign and submit that tree because it's pretty majestic, if I do say so myself. So this here is lady fern, which I actually don't know the scientific name of lady fern. Anyone want to drop that in the comments? So lady fern is one of these deciduous ferns. So the main difference between sword fern and some of our other ferns is that sword fern are green all year long. They're coniferous ferns, so they don't lose their leaves. Whereas lady fern and bracken fern that I'm going to show you in a minute do lose their leaves. So each year you can see they grew all of this green this year, basically in the last month. We've been watching them grow. Thank you, Nikki. And you can see the scientific name for lady fern in the comments. And so you can see that lady fern, like I said, they just grew all these leaves, so they feel kind of delicate. And then it's unfortunate that this is the way that I remember it, but lady ferns kind of have the leaves go all the way down their legs like they're wearing a long skirt covering themselves up. So that's how I remember lady fern. They have these kind of delicate leaves that go all the way down. And then up here, we've got some other park users. Up here, I'm going to show you the bracken fern, which I also don't know the scientific name for. Nikki, you want to help me out again? I also love ferns, Leela. And there are so many options here. I'm going to try and find you a deer fern as well. So up here, we've got some bracken ferns. So you can see the difference is the leaves don't go down here. This again is another deciduous fern. So this had all of its growth happen this year. These just popped right out of the ground. You can see they look a little bit different. There's less leaves than the lady fern, less fronds in general. But the main difference that I always tell is there are no fronds for this whole stem here. You can see that's the case on all of these bracken ferns. I'm gonna let these people pass me, and then I'll get back to talking about bracken ferns. Oh, like pterodactyl. I love it, yes, because ferns are ancient. They came before our flowering gymnosperms and angiosperms. Gymnosperms don't flower. I said that kind of wrong. But yeah, so this is bracken fern. They're very cool. They're slightly less common, I seem to find, than the lady fern, which are just all over the place. I kind of had to search for a bracken fern. Oh yeah, Nicole, that's a good point as well. Okay, so now we're gonna come back down here. There is a scavenger hunt for kids on our website. We got you. If you go to, there's a couple different spots where you can find it. Ooh, first yeah. So this is a great example of how lady ferns grow in giant bunches. So you can see there's a huge bunch of lady ferns growing there. Basically all of these really bright green ferns that you see in here are all lady ferns. Here's some more. kids scavenger hunt. greencitypartnerships.wordpress.com. You'll find kids activities and all sorts of other ways to stay involved. It's kind of our how to volunteer with us without volunteering with us, because you can't. We really want to keep you all engaged with us and continue providing resources and opportunities. And if you have any things that you want, please continue to let us know. Okay, we've seen some more lady ferns. There's a lot of ferns here. We're almost to the next spot where I want to go. I'll also stop along the way to show you some nice salmonberry. So these are another one of our relatively early bloomers. You can see these pink flowers here that will turn into what are my favorite summer berries, salmon berries. Jillian, I am at Ravenna Park, right by my house in North Seattle. So here's a really nice shot of a salmonberry flower. Oh, this, however, not gonna fool me. This is a thimbleberry mixed in with the salmonberry here. So I'm showing you this salmonberry. You can see it has leaves that are similar to blackberry because they're both in the rose family. So this is a native rose. As you can see, there's a lot of horsetails here. Thimbleberry is definitely nature's toilet paper. I saw a joke when this whole pandemic started about where to get your toilet paper in these times, and thimbleberry unfortunately wasn't leafing out about a month ago, but now it is. So not in a Seattle park, but go find yourself some natural toilet paper. Hi, Andrea. Okay, we're almost to the second spot that I want to show you. It's so fun having all these people on a walk with me. Oh, little birdie. I saw a really nice little hummingbird this morning that was really going for the ferns, which I'm not sure if hummingbirds are able to get any nutrients from fern spores. There's a question for the scientists on this call, on this Instagram live, not call. Okay, almost here. You see all these nice ferns of many different types along the way. Here's another really great patch. Oh, a little squirrel that I just scared up a tree. I have heard that there are two kinds of horsetails, that one is native to here and one is not native, but that from just looking at them, it's quite difficult to tell. That is why I'm questioning its native status. So here's another patch of oxalis. Some of these, you can kind of see they have that slightly more purple bottom. Here's just some really cool patches though. Oxalis we really love because it will kind of compete with creeping buttercup, which is this guy here. So you can see, I mean, it's a battle at least, which is not always the case. Creeping buttercup usually wins, but it seems like oxalis can kind of hold its own. So we love when oxalis gets established in our forest floors like this. You can see the salmonberry creeping up through. So here we have a little baby red alder. It's growing up. I see some nice big leaf maples up there. Okay, thanks for clarifying that. I learned something today too. Yes, Andrea, we talked about how sorrel is delicious at the first sorrel patch. I mentioned that while I'm not saying you should eat it in a park, you should definitely eat it if you find it on private property. So here I'm going to show you this amazing patch of skunk cabbage. You can see the leaves just get so big. There's a bunch of salmonberry back there. Got this really nice red alder right here. You can see it has, that's okay. You can see it has that really nice red bark. Its leaves are just starting to leaf out. They've got that kind of just really simple leaf. This skunk cabbage does not appear to be flowering, but the other skunk cabbage definitely is. Let's go find some more flowering skunk cabbage. So here's the other little patch that I wanted to show everyone, with these really bright. What was planted by stewards in the NAC, Eric? That NAC is the Natural Areas crew, who do a lot of our crew work in addition to our volunteer forest stewards. I just wanted to show you this giant sword fern right here with lots of new little fronds. So while sword ferns are coniferous and don't lose they're evergreen, at least is probably a better classification, they do grow new fronds. So you can see these ones are from last year, or maybe, yeah, last year. And then these are some new ones. Got some little salmonberry growing up here. Ah, yes, oxalis is planted all the time. We love it. It's also a really good option for your yard if you're trying to kind of get rid of some of your grass. It's a nice ground cover that will take over, and it's beautiful, and you can definitely eat it if it's in your yard. So this is kind of my spot of serenity. I absolutely love it right here. This is where, if you follow the Green Seattle Instagram and watch our stories, I posted a video of some bird sounds the other day right here. There were probably like 10 different birds calling. I'm not someone who's very good at my bird calls, but it was so nice to just sit here and listen to all of the birds while I look at my favorite plants. If you want to buy oxalis seeds, you can reach out to lots of local nurseries. They'll have oxalis seeds. The King Conservation District sells bare root oxalis plants. We unfortunately just missed their spring bare root plant sale, but they're a really good place to buy all sorts of native plants. But there's lots of native plant nurseries around as well. Ooh, there's a really big skunk cabbage back there. Okay, I think I'm just going to show you a couple more plants. We do want to keep this brief and fun. Also, so this is our wetland plant walk. On Thursday, Eric Sterner, who is one of our Green Seattle Partnership plant ecologists, is going to do an upland forest native plant walk at Fremont Peak Park. So join us on Thursday at noon for that. I'm just going to walk over to this last little section here. Oh, there's a duck. Hey, bud. Just really nice wetlands here. So you can also see back in the distance there is some coltsfoot, which is the last plant that I want to show you. I'm just going to take you over to some coltsfoot. I'm going to let these people go by.
Just created.
Hello. Hi. So the last stop on this plant walk is for some coltsfoot, which is another plant that we have a native and an invasive living in Washington. So I'm going to show you the native coltsfoot. There's also an invasive coltsfoot that can really take over. So here you can see some of our native coltsfoot. So it's got these, you can see compared to my hand, it's got pretty large leaves. They seem to always be really chewed on. There must be some caterpillar that lives around here that really likes coltsfoot. You can see there's some over there. They have these, like I said, large leaves. And then you can see, I don't want to step in here. I'm staying on the paths as a good park user. So you can see that right there is one of the inflorescences of the coltsfoot. There's another one under this bridge right here. Here, let me go back so you can see it. There's one that's flowering a little bit more under the, yeah, this is a fantastic park and trail system. I'm very, very lucky that I live by it. So you can see that's the coltsfoot right there. The flowers and the leaves. Some more lady fern down there. Yeah. Us. Thank you, Eric. Okay, I said that was the last plant, but I can't end this plant walk without talking about osoberry. It is so important for our ecosystems, and we use it all the time in restoration. It was formerly known as Indian plum. We call it osoberry. Olmolaria cerastiformis, is that correct? So here's the little flowers that you can see here. They're just starting to come out. And they will continue to fruit into little dark berries that we will watch as the summer grows. So you can see a lot of what's along the trail here is salmonberry and osoberry. That's what you see most commonly in this park. So this is a really big osoberry here. That's what all this kind of light green is. It has these nice little white flowers that will come out. They're already starting to come out. Or actually, no, the flowers are done flowering. What am I talking about? We already saw osoberry, so they're just starting to berry now, which is exciting. You probably saw the white flowers. They're some of the first to flower in the spring. They're kind of our classic sign of spring. The skunk cabbage are popping through and the osoberry are flowering. And spring is here. Bye, duck. See you later. Well, thank you so much.